So, Kanan, fear or respect? What's your preference?
I mean, to me, that's just a trick question. Can't have no real respect without fear.
You know what don't work different?
I'm sorry yet, motherfucker.
Well, seeing how we are at least, I guess, one more episode to go, because episode 9 is gonna happen in February, and then after that it's gonna be one more. So I guess two episodes to go, right? But I wanted to talk about the fact is that Kanan is technically, I guess you can say, Defcon's replacement, or gonna be like the second Defcon, because the way how Snaps was talking about, Defcon, and how he was basically feared, and how there's like so many stories that you hear about Defcon, like besides the fact is that he was like, Rock was with him, and is only to show that he was strong in the streets, and how he didn't have that side to him that he didn't want to show to anybody else, but he was that guy when it came down to like handling his business. But the thing is, as we see how in Raising Kanan, how Kanan is technically doing the things that Defcon actually did, where when Vernon Stark was explaining about how Kanan had it, Defcon had his own holes, he had his own houses, he was doing his own thing. Now granted, Kanan doesn't really have everything that Defcon actually has, but the thing is, he's being taught and trained by he has mentors. Like Ronnie is basically the guy that installs fear and gets the job done and threatens people, right? And Kanan is like taking notes on how, you see how what Ronnie did to Famous, and how he did to, that child services woman. Like he basically showed that this is how you get the job done. And then you have like Snaps and Pop, who are like formerly retired, but as how they was able to stay retired, and how they was able to continue to be in the business but not actually be on paper doing the business. But the thing is just that they're teaching Kanan, and they're like his mentors, and they're showing him the ropes. This is why I think when it came down to like the entire franchise of like Raising Kanan, you can argue that we was technically led astray, because we see Rock, the one in control of things, and she's leading the ship. But the thing is, it's like we all thought, I also thought that as well, that maybe Kanan would have learned something from Rock. I think the only thing we can put into a perspective that with Kanan actually learned from Rock is just the art of lying and manipulation. That's what we can say that Kanan actually learned anything from Rock, was basically the lying and the manipulation, because we've seen him do that in the original Power as well, where he did do a little bit of what Rock was doing, not fully, but he was doing a little bit of that. But he was also installing fear, and we've basically seen like the origins of like the people that was in his life, and the ones that was also the one teaching him how to do these things, and which led him to being the Kanan that we all know him to be. Now granted, we did see a little bit of that in the first season of Raising Kanan, and we seen a glimpse of that in the second. But for Kanan's horizon to be expanded is from Snaps and Ronnie as well, and it's gonna basically propel him into being the Kanan that we all know him to be. But the thing is, it's just that he's hearing all of these stories from various people that talks about like Defcon, and about how this guy is. Now I, as much as everybody else would love to see maybe like a picture of Defcon, because we still don't know how the guy looks. We don't know how the guy is. We just hearing like word of mouth of how great this man is. And the fact is that Kanan himself have the Stark name, so in spirit, Kanan is basically gonna be the new Defcon. He's basically he did become the new Defcon in the future and in the past as well, but he never became anything like his mom. So that's why I said I liked how these little twists and turns basically became, and you can see like the parallels, not fully, but when you look at, you know, Tariq and Ghost, because, you know, Tariq didn't know too much about like Ghost's life besides of like the stories that he was told of. But the thing is just that his struggles, he never know about his struggles because, you know, Ghost was a private man. He never told his backstory or his past to anybody, well, except for the ones that knew about him, but he never told those stories to Tariq. So Tariq doesn't know anything about like what Ghost was doing, right? And you could say for Kanan is only hearing these stories about Defcon, and he's seeing the things that his mother is doing. But now that he's officially living that lifestyle, we getting to see like how Kanan is going to be progressing going forward. And the thing is just that the little things that he's learning, he's going to become like much more dangerous going forward. And if Ronnie does die, even though I don't want him to, because I love his character, I really do. If he does die, then it's only going to like drive him much more further into becoming like much like a dangerous Kanan. He's going to become much more of a dangerous Kanan that we all know him to be. But, you know, it's quite interesting that how, you know, these events is playing up. And then if when we do get to see like Breeze and he, you know, makes an appearance as well, then, you know, it's gonna be much more interesting as well that he's gonna be also teaching him and showing him the ropes. Now, I understand that there's a lot of people out there that is upset where they don't like some of these characters because they feel like these characters eventually they're gonna die. So it's just like, what's the point on even talking about these characters if they're not even mentioned or brought up in the future? Now, yeah, some of y'all do make like a fair point on that, but you got to keep in mind of a few things. Like you have RSJ, right? Because RSJ talked about how, yeah, his father, I guess, was a guy who did numbers, I think. But we don't even know if, again, because RSJ is, you know, somewhat of a mystery. And we don't know if he actually comes from, maybe he's either Unique's son or he's Samrad's son. Because remember, there's two characters that we don't know what's going to actually happen to in the future is basically Unique's son and Samrad's son. So I would love to see what actually happens to both of them and if they will, you know, make an appearance in Power, right? And in some of the characters that we haven't seen in Power, well in Kanan, Raising Kanan, I should say, some of the characters that we haven't seen in Raising Kanan, or some of the characters that haven't been shown yet and haven't gotten killed off, they could make an appearance in Power. But again, we just gonna have to like wait and see on that if that ever comes to fruition. But yeah, it's just, you know, you got to look at these things into like a bigger picture on how, you know, certain things is gonna like take place. But overall, when you look at Kanan himself, you get to see like the origins of where he get most of his thinking from, where he got like some of his tactics from, and how he was actually, you know, treating people and doing these things. But again, it's just that he's becoming not Rock, but becoming, I guess, Defcon. I guess how Defcon, you know, did his things or whatever, he's gonna be becoming, I guess, more like Defcon. But in the meantime, he's just going to be learning like different things from various people and to becoming who we all know him to be. But yep, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it on the matter. But, you know, comment down below on what you guys think of, you know, the origins of how Kanan became a monster, and how, you know, all of these people that's actually teaching him these you know, these little lessons, and how he's gonna go forward into the future. Because we all know this man he murking family members, he murking cops, you know, he almost killed Ghost or tried to kill Ghost. You know, he became crazy. And to know that these characters in the past that actually, if either you hated them or you liked them, right, are the ones that made him to be who he is. You know, despite, yeah, Rock also contributing to, you know, Kanan's trauma and his stress, but you gotta look at the other characters as well that also made him stronger and made him to be who he is. So that's why I love it. I really do love it. Like I said, I understand most of y'all's points, and y'all do make a fair point, like, you know, it doesn't really matter. But it's always best to see everything into well, it's really best to see everything Like, you shouldn't really just discard nothing. It's all and just be like, they're there. It's just, you have to appreciate them now, then forget about them later. That's what I would probably say. But overall, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you all in the next one.